there's a lot happening behind the scenes over at DC. A lot. And we're going to talk about all that right now because DC's blowing up. So it starts with this. Walter Hamada, who is he's been the president over at DC Warner Brothers for a while. But he's stepping down. He has stepped down. I think it's official at this point. He didn't even go to the
Yeah, I believe it was official by at least early Friday.
yeah. He didn't even go to the premiere of Black Adam.
Damn.
Yeah. So Walter Hamada is ending his run over there. And now what has happened remarkably is there's a power grab happening at DC Films. This is all based on what I thought was a fantastic report from the Hollywood Reporter by Boris Kitt, who does a lot of great work over there. And I'm going to break down what's happening, and then we'll dive into the pieces because there are a lot of names involved and a lot of characters involved. What we have to understand when we're talking about DC films in particular, Marvel less so because Marvel really feels cohesive. Everybody answers to Kevin Feige. You don't really get to like go and pick Marvel apart for what you want to do. That doesn't really get to happen. But at DC, especially without Walter Hamada anymore, it's a different story. So let's start with Black Adam because The Rock is the guy behind that one, and it just came out. The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, has an idea of what he wants the DC universe to look like. I don't remember if we talked about this last week, but there were even talks about him becoming president of DC post Walter Hamada. That's nuts. That's not going to be happening. But he has been obviously an advocate of bringing Henry Cavill back for future projects. They want to do Batman versus
Black Adam versus Superman.
Yeah, that Black Adam versus Superman, exactly.
We already did Batman versus Superman, and that shit.
Yeah, that happened. But he wants Black Adam to be highly prominent. He wants the return of Superman, and he wants these characters to interact. So that's what the Rock's angle of it is. And he talked this week about how it's been impossible to get, with the old regime to get conversations going about Henry Cavill, and that's all he wanted, and yada yada yada, right? And all these potential plans for the future. This week we learned from reports that have come out, including the report from the Hollywood Reporter, that is expected that a Man of Steel 2 is going to be made. Okay, that's cool. How does that jive with the fact that do they have Henry Cavill locked in? What about J.J. Abrams? J.J. Abrams is making they signed Bad Robot. Bad Robot is on the payroll to produce and direct, to some degree, I would imagine, some amount of DC films. One of those being a Superman project.
Was that the Black Superman one? Forget.
I think it was the Black Superman one. So Walter Hamada, one of his projects, he didn't want Henry Cavill back as Superman. Walter Hamada clearly has an axe to grind with Zack Snyder and everything that Zack Snyder touched. So if you notice, the only character, not even the Flash, not even with everything Ezra Miller has done, the only character that DC has had on ice is Superman. Think about it.
Which is wild because Henry Cavill is the least of the problems with
Yes, I agree.
Man of Steel and the Zack Snyder verse.
with the whole with right like less
so.
controversial than Batman.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he seemed like this dude's just building PCs at home.
Hmm.
You know, like he is a
And
chill guy. Yeah,
he's like he's a good Superman. Like
agreed. Yeah,
Yeah, and
it,
yet they don't want him. What's the only solo hero movie that Zack Snyder directed? Man of Steel.
sure. Yeah,
So Hamada, no interest in anything Superman except for the Black Superman. That was something that was a project that he was very invested in, and again, that was going to be written by Ta-Nehisi Coates.
hmm
Mhm.
The funny thing is that all that stuff has kind of stalled. We haven't really heard much about any of that.
yeah. I think especially after the Discovery buyout, things have gotten radio silent across the board. This is the first major non-Ezra news that we've had for the DCEU, is the way I like to say it, not SU, but ew. Um, that of potential forward momentum of where we're going.
Right. And by the way, with the Superman stuff, that's so J.J. Abrams attached, Ta-Nehisi Coates writing, and by the way, J.J. attached as a producer, not the director.
Which is probably means he just has his name on it. Like honestly, yeah.
Mhm.
Juxtaposed with an entirely different project by Michael B. Jordan. That's
Oh,
also a
that's
Black Superman.
I
That's
forgot
right.
those were
Yeah, yeah,
separate.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I believe his was based on uh for not to be disparaging, but Obama Superman from
Earth 2 or whatever.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, President Superman.
Obama.
Oh my
I don't have the sound, but
god. um Allegedly that's still happening, but again, radio silence as we discussed. Meanwhile, The Flash 2 already written.
man, they were quick to that one.
That's what Hollywood Reporter is saying, and that Warner Brothers Discovery, their biggest focus is on bringing these A-list characters to the screen with the quickness to get back on the horse, start producing these films. So right from Flash 1 to Flash 2, don't even know who's going to be playing that character because it can't be Ezra Miller. It
Oh,
can't be.
it'll be.
Let alone in the movie they've already made.
It'll
Right,
still
like this
be.
conversation
Yeah.
about replacing him in the movie they already made, and you're writing the script for the second one.
Yep.
That's unreal.
You just got
Unreal.
to say, "Oh, I'm so sorry," and then they'll be like, "All right, Ezra, it's fine. We can do another Flash."
I read that. I
Imagine.
read that Ezra is facing like 26 years for
Well,
everything he's
yeah,
done.
it depends on what
They've
their
done everything
yeah.
they've done.
Yeah, they pled not guilty, but listen.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Uh,
we,
ri-
we
rich white person in Hollywood. Yeah, he'll be all right.
Wouldn't be the first one in prison though. Make a comeback.
Sure. Do you think the Flash will then have to figure out who framed Ezra to get them out of prison, and that'll be the third movie?
then we can shift to an entirely different person because James Gunn
This is the
is
part I'm
eyeing
excited
projects.
for. Yeah, this is the part that I'm excited for.
So James Gunn is allegedly working on a secret DC project. That's obviously not Peacemaker, but we are still getting second season of that. There were talks of I don't know if this is still I don't know if this is still on board, but there were talks about a different spin-off show from Suicide Squad, spinning out of Suicide Squad, in addition to Peacemaker. I don't know if that's still on the table, but we talked about that a year ago.
Wasn't it rumored to be an Amanda Waller joint sort of thing? Vehicle?
Yes, there were
Yeah.
rumors, but we don't know for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, look, James Gunn is super talented.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like the Suicide Squad as much as most people, but it's it's solid.
Mm.
Um, but if he's got something on lock, like if there's a project that he's working on, I mean, it's hard not to get excited, at least to some degree.
I think he
Because
would be
even
great for like a Blue Beater Booster Gold sort of thing, or maybe like a JLI. You know,
Hmm.
he does
yeah,
ensembles
yeah,
real well, and he's got a knack for humor. So
Sure. What were you gonna say there, Kale?
yeah. Even if your personal opinion, like you were saying, you weren't crazy about the Suicide Squad. Like it's a competent film. Like it's very well put together. And I think, even your personal opinion aside, like you can at least be excited to go see like a good movie, you know,
from a
from the
craft standpoint,
DC from a craft standpoint. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, something with vision to it,
Yeah.
something, yeah, for sure. I have a reason why I'm not excited for anything that we're talking about, and I'll get to that at the end.
Because
Um,
none of it's coming.
because there's still more angles. We haven't even talked about Matt Reeves.
Oh yeah.
Apparently, Matt
What
Reeves,
is wait? Is this like the battle for the cowl of the
yes,
DCEU? Yeah.
that is
Oh yeah.
exactly what we're here to talk about. This is everybody carving the D. Like, imagine the DC logo is just this big cake, and all the people we're talking about it are standing around the cake, and they're all trying to scoop pieces out. Not just one. They're not just looking for their piece. James Gunn's looking for Matt Reeves' piece.
Mm.
Ayo.
Walter Hamada said, "Screw this. I don't even want a piece. This cake's poison." But everybody's trying to get their piece. So Matt
Yeah.
Reeves is looking to make spin-off films for villains of the Batman universe.
Ah, the Sony method.
But he's not going to be making them himself. He's teaming with filmmakers and writers and, of all kinds to try to put these movies together focused on, and the names, these are the names in the reporter article. Names like Scarecrow, Clayface, but also Professor Pig.
Those are literally my three favorite Batman villains.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. Don't care.
Not one.
Here's another point of discord. I told you Dwayne Johnson was told no about Henry Cavill 50 million times. This man went around Hamada and went to the executive end and spoke to two of the major executives over at DC about trying to bring Henry Cavill back. And, tying into the Man of Steel 2 announcement, according to this article, they said yes for a future project.
That's such a
Well,
badass move.
that's a bad move.
You think so?
I mean, look, Hamada's gone, so it doesn't affect The Rock, but no organization should work that way.
This is pure carny wrestling kind of maneuvers here. This is something he learned on the circuit.
100 million%.
Yeah.
The Rock had the ability to go to McMahon. Didn't matter what any other producer Joe Schmo said.
Yep.
The Rock could go to McMahon. Absolutely. And in this case, The Rock went to Warner Brothers Pictures executives Michael DeLuca and Pam Abdi and spoke to them. And he got the green light there. What is happening at DC? This is a result of David Zaslav, whose only experience in running a company, right? Like a company that produces entertainment from a film or television standpoint, is working with Discovery. producing the 90 Day Fiance universe.
Fantastic universe.
He doesn't know much about the DC universe. He doesn't know what films or characters should be prioritized over others. He looks at it and he says, well, and rightly so, by the way, hey, where's our Superman movie? Where's our, Batman sequel that should be in development? Where's Flash? Where are all these movies?
Where's our Spider-Man?
Imagine.
Mr. Zaslav. Sorry.
Get me those pictures of Spider-Man. But he's saying that, right? And he's saying, get it to me how you can. Meanwhile, all these filmmakers have the ability, right? Imagine if we were talking about Marvel. Imagine if I said, the Russos are independently working on movies about Craven, or well, I guess it couldn't be Craven.
No, it's funny you make a joke about that because that's actually happening.
Yeah, right. But like, who's an obscure villain? Like they're working on a Batroc the Leaper movie,
Oh, yo, hype.
No,
GSP finally getting that starring role.
It wouldn't happen. There wouldn't be this much. There aren't even rumors like that about the internal workings of Marvel. Like we talked about Blade and stuff, but that was just conjecture. We don't know what happened. We don't know.
This is a leaky ship, this one.
All the stuff that we do talk about they're like Marvel related properties, but it's not like, MC, directly from the MCU. That's all Sony stuff.
Yeah.
You can't do that because Kevin Feige's got a folder on you. He's got
he
some.
Probably does.
Oh, he definitely does.
By the way, Catherine, I'm not even crapping on the 90 Day Fiance universe. I'm sure it's all great, but like 90 Day Fiance universe, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. You know what I'm saying? Like there's two totally different deals, and Zaslav's in charge of both from an overseer standpoint.
Who was more recognizable, the Flash or Big Ed? I'm going to go with the Flash on this one.
Big Ed, though. No neck Ed.
Yo, cast him as Mad Hatter in this Matt Reeves thing.
Hey, nah. Could have been a penguin.
Could have been. Shouldn't have been. I'm fine with Colin Farrell. He's doing all right.
But it feels like there's just no cohesion to any of this. The Batman feels great and special because it's Matt Reeves' vision and sort of what he came up with, and it doesn't tie into anything else. Now you're talking about spinoffs. Spinoffs, a Clayface movie. Clayface hasn't been good enough to get any movie.
I disagree.
Tyler, don't disagree. What do you mean you disagree? Can I even finish what I'm saying? Clayface hasn't been good enough to be a Batman villain in a movie in 60 years. 60 years. But his first exposure should be a solo film.
Yes.
Not done by Matt Reeves, done by we don't know who.
Tyler, stop it. Stop it.
I will say, Matt Reeves, I got a script ready. I can get a script ready for you. I've always had one in my head.
Hold, Tyler, do you have one? Or...
I can get one. I can make one. I got one up here. Trust me. It is. If you want your version of Werewolf by Night, I got one for Clayface up here.
No.
This is where my mind goes.
I want that. However,
no words, just sigh.
It only adds to the problem.
Basil Carlo, come on. Let's go for it.
And there's no one saying no. There's no one saying, hey, what are we doing here? What does our universe look like? What are the rules? Because if Matt Reeves has a corner, that's a Batman corner, right? Where he's making movies centered around the villains with other screenwriters. And then there's another corner with Joker. Joker corner with Todd Phillips.
Yep.
There's too many corners. What is this? Dodecahedron or something?
Worse than that.
And then there's the J.J. Abrams corner with Superman. But then there's also but the Superman there's black, and then there's the Charles Roven corner where the Superman's white, and then there's the Michael B. Jordan corner where he's black again. I'm confused.
No wonder
I don't know
Dan.
what's going on.
No wonder Dan Lin was like, "Nah, I'm good. I'm good. I
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
want to."
Yeah.
This is nuts. This is nuts. I'm not excited for any of this. Not at all. Because guess what? When you don't have oversight and when you don't have someone saying no, look at the last 10 years of DC. Look at what it's been. I think a lot of that stuff was interesting. Most people don't. What I thought I watched Batman vs Superman right now and have a good old time. Most people don't feel that way. Should it have existed in the first place? Hell no. Hell no. There never should have been a Batman vs Superman movie. That's a terrible idea for a movie.
That was also
Awful.
like that movie was like the movie that would be in a movie as like a joke.
Yeah,
Just,
it
was a
literally
movie.
was.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
But I think even in I Am Legend, it wasn't Batman versus, it was Batman and. You know what I'm
Yep.
like Batman
Oh,
Superman.
it was in. Yeah, shit. I
Yep.
forgot about that. Okay.
Why the hell would you make a movie where they're fighting each other? Like, yeah, that could happen. It could happen within the movie, but they're the world's finest.
Well, because
The-
it's like when a child gets brought up in a volatile household. What does that child learn? It learns how to fight. This movie was brought up in a company where everyone is just arguing or leaving projects or not listening to each other, saying no, going around them. Of course, the movie was going to be a mess.
Right. To the chat, I'm not saying you can't do standalone movies. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Like, I think we've seen it's been proven that they can happen. Like the Batman is its own, or at least I thought was its own ecosystem in which they'd be telling a Dark Knight type trilogy, you know, like not in style, but just in the fact that it's a trilogy, all its own thing, and that's that. That's what I thought. That's what I thought we were getting. I didn't think we were getting Clayface, Professor Pig, Scarecrow films done by other people. I'm not looking for that. And even if you're saying, hey, this movie doesn't tie in, cool. Is there going to be a universe? Are we getting a shared universe? Black Adam implies that. But these announcements don't. Or they're not announcements. I shouldn't say announcements, but this project line doesn't. To me, it's like all gobbledygook. It's all nonsense.
Gobbledygook would be what Clayface is about. Yeah. More like gobbledygook, but yeah.
I don't know. There's just too much going on.
Although I would say, like, yeah, standalone films aren't a bad idea, unless I'm talking to Sony. Horrible idea, guys. Stop doing it. Don't do it.
Right. Like, DC's track record with standalone films is good right now. Because the movies that
Hold on. There's a new bet. New bet just dropped in the chat.
Oh, really?
Yeah, from
Kefis.
resident
Your
gambling
boy.
addict.
No, I don't necessarily think that they are happening. But the fact that all of this conversation is taking place is already bad. Because again, there's no cohesion. If you're going to say we're going to make standalone films and we're going to have a universe, that's totally acceptable. Do what you want. But do it in a way where people understand what's happening and do it in a way where behind the scenes, there's somebody controlling this. Someone has to be controlling this.
How much of this do you think is normal sort of Hollywood bullshit? Stuff gets optioned, in the script development side, but never moves forward. Somebody buys an idea and it never moves forward, but it's just like magnified because the superhero stuff is so in,
I think it's a little bit of that being magnified, but also because you have that foil that is the MCU and what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's so it's you can't help but draw comparisons. When honestly the MCU is kind of a fluke, really. Like I don't like even Star Wars, which was around longer in terms of film with Lucasfilm, can't even manage to to do that correctly. I don't see anything ever matching the MCU.
This is why I don't understand people who say this isn't a quality conversation. Of course, it's a quality conversation. The last three Star Wars movies they put out, well, the last three core episode
Sure.
movies they put out didn't hit. They just didn't. Like, whatever numbers they did, whatever financials they did, people are done. They're done.
I still think they're in like
those
the top 10 movies of all time, though, in terms of sales. But
whatever, doesn't matter. You know why I say that? Because Lucasfilm put them on ice. There's something wrong. Like, it is what it is. Like, there's something wrong there. Whereas when you look at Marvel, the difference is that I don't like the last few movies they've done. It's all top down.
yeah, yeah. There, I just looked up the like specifically with Star Wars. I looked up the diminishing returns. Force Awakens at number 4 on top of all time. Then we go to Last Jedi, 16. And then we go to all the way down to 35 for Rise of Skywalker. So like even they couldn't do it.
And Force Awakens was the first Star Wars movie at all in almost, well, not quite a decade, but like half
Close
a
to
decade
it,
at
yeah.
least.
Yeah.
It was a significant release, but they clearly got it wrong. They disappointed a lot of people, and that's a quality conversation. You know, if you told me, hey, all the movies, if we could look into the future, right? If I had a crystal ball and you could say every single movie on this list that I just discussed is coming out, but every single one of them will be good, I would say, okay, bring it on. Why wouldn't I say that? The reason why I'm ranting is because I know that's not what's going to happen, because I don't trust them. And again, this is happening because there's a vacuum. There's not a leader. This is what happens when there's not a leader.
I
You know?
I can't see anyone even really wanting to have to be the one to wrangle all this.
Yeah, this is
Especially
nuts.
when the company is Discovery, who wants to cut corners for profit at every single opportunity they get. I can't imagine someone saying, "All right, this is worth my time and the money they're paying me." I don't see it happening with this leadership.
And also worth pointing out, not necessarily my cross to bear per se, but worth pointing out that all the movies we're talking about, they don't include Batgirl, you know, a woman who we were just about to get that debut cut. You know,
Yep.
that's not in the conversation. We're not talking about a Supergirl movie anymore, which we were talking about before. We're not talking about a Nightwing movie. Not that I necessarily want that, but I think that could be pretty cool under the right circumstances. Not talking about it. We're not talking about any characters who maybe should have a shot. We're not talking about anything like that. We're talking about the same characters we've already seen,
Yep.
except in the case of Matt Reeves, who wants to make movies about Professor Pig.
It's funny. It's 2022 and we're still thinking about, well, when's this new Superman movie going to be made?
All that's supposed to be on a conveyor belt. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
not creatively, but timeline wise, this is what we're doing. This is the plan for Superman. How do you not have a plan for Superman? What kind of company is this? You don't have a plan for a 5 most recognizable character in the history of humanity. Oh, okay. But I'm supposed to get excited about Professor Pig. Got it. Shambles. DC Films is in shambles. They need a leader. Someone has to step up and wrangle this. And maybe some of these people that I've mentioned won't be happy. Like maybe James Gunn, and again, I don't know what the project is. I'm sure it'll be great. But maybe James Gunn shouldn't have pick of the litter. Maybe that's not the right way forward. Maybe there should be a plan for those characters that you can fit Gunn's vision into, but that should be a part of the plan. Or maybe the plan is let James Gunn do what he wants. As long as there's a plan, that's fine. But there is none. And that's the issue. real quick, what do you guys think? These what do you guys think are the odds of these projects coming to fruition? And B, what do you guys think DC has to do to solve the problem if you see this as a problem?
The only thing, I mean, yeah, it's a problem. How they fix it, I have no fucking clue. They apparently have no clue either. It's just so entrenched in a mess that I don't know how they fix it. But out of all these projects, I do think we get Man of Steel 2. I think that the fan outcry for it has been persistent, and you have someone like The Rock kind of gunning for it. Um, and it's hard to say no to The Rock because he's intimidating. I gotta imagine that's how he got past the suits in the first place, right? He's The Rock, you know. And are you gonna say no to The Rock? No, I'll go with someone else besides you. Um, Especially with Black Adam, like even if it takes 15 years, I feel like The Rock, if he wants something done, it's gonna happen. That's his career, really. Whether or not he has the know how to be the Feige of the DCEU, I don't know, but
Hell no.
he doesn't have the CV for it. That's for sure. But sometimes it's about drive. It's about power. And The Rock stays hungry and he devours, and maybe that's what he'll do with DC going forward. I don't know. I do see Man of Steel 2 happening. When? Who fucking knows? But
Yeah, I don't know. I sort of think they should just abandon the universe. I mean, we've said this for a while now. Forget it. Stop making the comparison.
do you think they should
Make it
forget
up.
it and then just do solo stuff? Like Joker was successful, Batman was successful.
I mean, that would at least take the pressure off, right? Like,
Sure.
if they emphasize like we listen, if they were honest about the fact that listen, we can't compete with that. We can't. We have these heroes and we don't have a track record of doing that and doing it well. We can't, have these movies instead.
Good luck telling that to shareholders, though. Like,
That's the thing.
yep,
That's the thing.
shareholders see
I
the
mean,
MCU, they see the massive money, um, uh, uh, I guess, giant that the MCU is, and that's what they're going to want no matter what.
but you also, at some point, somebody's got to put their foot down and say, this is a mess. Like nobody, the shareholders can't dictate what's happening because it's not working.
When
Somebody's got to say, listen, respectfully, y'all ain't got it.
can't and shouldn't are different words here, though. Like,
That's why I'm not in charge of the
yeah,
DCEU because I'll say F you to the shareholders.
And they'll say F you right back, and they won't
Yep.
have any money.
That's right. I've always said start with the Justice League and work your way out.
honestly, start with the JSA at this point, but
Well, listen, I don't, that's not unreasonable either.
yeah.
I think that I don't know. In my mind,
No, no,
in my mind, a filmmaker driven shared universe or situation where filmmakers are carving out their space sounds like a disaster because obviously they would want this. Filmmakers would want control and they would want the ability to make things how they want to make them. And even if it's not a shared universe necessarily, you might not want certain things to happen with certain characters or for this character to appear in this movie for a million different reasons that don't have anything to do with a shared universe. So I think somebody has to step up and figure out this mess. It ain't gonna be me.
It
They
could
don't
be
pay
me
me
if
enough.
you let me do that Clayface movie. It could be me.
Oh man. Imagine
Listen, I'll-
Tyler's vision for the MCU or DCU.
I'll do it without the Clayface movie.
Damn it! I've been outbid.
Yeah, so let us know your thoughts at home about what's going on with the DCFU. It's a garbage fire, but I do think that there's a possibility for things to go well. We just need some leadership, and hey, on the other hand of what I just said, this is a very talented group of people. So, while I'm getting Cabal vibes, Marvel Cabal vibes from before Kevin Feige almost actually left Marvel because
Yeah.
there were just too many cooks in the kitchen.
Oh, I
Uh,
was thinking comic book Cabal with Norman with the cornrows. That's where my head went.
well,
I
that's
mean,
how
it's
I got the
probably
name.
I guess so.
probably
Yeah.
not that different.
Oh, hey, Shenron.
Oh, Shinron, here to make our wish.
Don't worry, the Flash movie will be there to solve the problem. Yeah, don't worry, darling. Flash is there.
I can't wait to see that movie. You know why? Not because of Ezra Miller, but because
Of course not.
within the context of everything that's happening, in the wider like behind the scenes DC stuff, this movie doesn't even make any damn sense. Like I can't wait to see how they make it make
It's a
sense.
train wreck.
Yep.
And we keep forgetting Michael Keaton's coming back as Batman in that. Like that is
Yeah.
just lost in the sauce now, and I feel so bad for him with Batgirl being demolished.
He
too.
said
Like
he said this
Uh,
week he said that somebody asked him about Batgirl and he said, "Yeah, it was canceled. It was a good business decision, I guess."
hey, at least he's taking it in stride.